So, good morning. Welcome to today's Morning Moxie with Larisa. Today, I am talking to you, my late bloomers, and by that I mean those of us who have, for any reason you might think of, not prepared as well as we should have, perhaps, for retirement. And I want to let you know a couple of things about my position, if you will, on retirement. And well, first of all, the word retirement, I have to tell you, it seems so far off given today's economy and the fact, as I said, not being overly prepared. And by that, I mean not having a seriously flush 401k. I think we all agree that we cannot rely on Social Security. So it begs the question, what do we do? So I'm here to suggest that number one, if you haven't already done so, make sure that you do participate in your company's 401k, at least to the level that you can qualify for the company match. I always say never give away free money, and a company match is exactly that, free money, and that it helps build your bottom line for your future. But more than that, I'm suggesting that you want to consider, wait for it, real estate. Now, I know for some reason many people are afraid of buying real estate or they just feel like it's a huge responsibility, but I say to you, while it may seem like a huge responsibility, how much more of a responsibility is preparing for your own retirement? So, if you can qualify for a real estate loan, number one, I suggest that you might get some real property. And there are many things that you can do with real property because number one, chances are, depending on where you live, your rent that you're paying is probably more than the mortgage that you would be paying. And then the mortgage that you do pay goes toward your bottom line, not to some random landlord's bottom line, right? And let's just say, okay, when you think of a house, you think about it for your own living space. Obviously, we hope, keep a roof over your head. That's huge. But I am more a buy and hold long-term view person as far as real estate. So I'm going to suggest that if you have, say, a large backyard, depending on where you live, you might be able to qualify for an ADU. ADU means accessory dwelling unit. That's just city speak for being able to build a studio, for example, or converting a garage into a living space and renting it out. Those used to be hugely difficult to get permits for, and you obviously want to do everything with a permit because it makes life so much cleaner. But you can build an accessory dwelling unit in your backyard, or like I said, convert a garage, and this can provide you with some additional revenue while you are paying for your own home, you have a place to live, and you can rent out this other space. And that could possibly increase the resale value when it's time to cash out, right? And then, of course, it may, in many ways, help with the housing crisis, right? You can provide living space. Obviously, you want to do all the screening that's necessary to ensure that you have a qualified tenant who can and will pay the rent, but that's one option. You've probably heard about vacation rentals, Airbnb being the name that people use for the verb and the noun. Um, rent out, say, for example, an ADU on vacation, short term, so people in and out. Or if you have an extra room in your house, consider renting that out as a short-term rental. Or for the big boys, and I'm only throwing this out there, not suggesting that you do it unless you have extra cash flow, you consider arbitrage, and that means you rent a place and then you sublet it as a short-term vacation rental. So obviously the short-term lease would be for more than the lease that you owe the landlord, but that's again for the big boys unless you have extra money. Don't suggest that as your first step. That is just a consideration. So what did I say? I said ADUs, I said renting out your room, and then if you can or otherwise choose to, maybe you don't want to take care of maintenance and or cutting your lawn, so maybe you rent out the whole house if you have equity, and then you're renting that until it appreciates in cash value so you can sell it for a nice lump sum to fund your retirement while you live elsewhere. So, there are many ways to get involved in real estate. So let's review before I close out. ADU, accessory dwelling unit, if you have space in your backyard or a garage that you can convert to a permitted living space, renting out a room, or renting out your whole house. These are really solid ways to get you some additional income and involved in real estate. Real estate is a cornerstone for wealth for generations, and in our case, maybe to help fund your retirement. So that's been today's Morning Moxie, probably way longer than I intended, but I hope you've gotten some value. If you haven't done so already, do please subscribe, and I will look forward to seeing you on the next video. Ciao.